Hi and welcome back to another video from Effective Dashboards. In this video I'm going to show you how we can use the format function, and we're going to use it in a very specific way, and that is to allow us to construct a dynamic title for the chart that has the sentence case, date and year. So we're going to construct this here that's going to be open work order trend between Friday the 1st of March 2019 and Wednesday the 1st of May 2019. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing we've got to do is just explain a little bit about how this is calculated. So we've got a filter on the side of the page here. Now we could use a slicer. However, for this example here, the requirement was to create a screen that's going to be displayed on, or to create a Power BI report that's going to be displayed on a screen. And every day it's going to refresh. Okay, so every day it will show the last 3 months trend of the number of work orders that are open at a site. And we can see here I've emulated that by putting in a is on or after and is on or before date range. So if I just put that out to the 31st, we can see that that'll be the date range. Now normally what would happen here is that we'd use this relative date filter and just look back over the last 3 months. However, the date range, or the date that I've got, is set sometime in 2019, and that would then mean that we'd have to just fudge the figures by putting in this to and from. So that was just to give you an idea about what the background for this requirement was. So we don't want to display a slicer on the screen, but we do want to put or inform the person looking at this dashboard, the people looking at this dashboard, of the date range. Okay, now you can see it across the bottom here, but we wanted it to be explicit. The less thinking, don't make people think, the less information they've got to go and look at, the better. And if they can see it's from the 1st of March to the 31st of May, then great, along the top here. So let's go and we will create this measure, and that measure is going to be used as an input into the title. So if we look here, we have got an option here to either put some text straight into the title, or we can use a function. And that function, that measure that we define, can be used to derive this title dynamically. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Okay, so here's the one that's the version of the chart that has got the title, which is just static text. So we can see here, work order open, or trend of open work orders, is the static text here. So we're going to go and create a new measure, and we're going to use that measure to enter into this text here to dynamically build it. So we'll call this title, and this is going to be work order trend. Okay, we'll just call that for just now. So the first thing we need is we need to be able to embed the start and the end date of the trend. So to do that, we're going to go and find these dates. So we're going to create a variable, and the first one is going to be called the min date, and it's going to be just using the min function to find the minimum of the date that's used in this table here. So work order trend. The work order trend table has just got 2 fields. It's just got a date and a number of work orders on that date. It's a really simple data model. Then we'll find the max date, and that's going to be max, and it's going to be the same thing, work order date. Okay, so then we're going to create a result. Just put a bit of space in here. Return from the variable definition, and then we're going to put result. But we're going to put a result here. Equals. Right, okay. So the result is going to be the string that we're going to use. So the string is going to be, let's just minimize this for a second, trend of open work orders. Orders between put in an ampersand is the character we use to join it. Min date, and then we're going to put another ampersand, and we're going to open these brackets. We'll put and then we're going to put another ampersand, and we're going to call this max date. Okay, so that's going to be the result, and then we'll just return the result. And this is going to generate text that's going to be dynamically embedded in the min date and the max date. So let's just look and see what that does. So we'll go into this FX here, and there is only one option here, field value. We're going to go and find our measure that we've just created that's dynamically generating this text. So a trend of open work orders between the 1st of 01/03/2019 and 31/5/2019. So that's a good starting point. However, we want this to be sentence case. We want it to be the 1st of March 2019, and we want that to be the 31st of May 2019. We want it to explicitly tell us those dates. So how do we do that? Well, we use a function called format. So let's just go back in here, and before we do, I'm going to just flip across to the documentation. Okay, so I'll leave a link below to this documentation here, and how it works is format takes two arguments. It takes a value, and basically it converts whatever the value is to a text string according to a specific format. So it takes this value here, which is going to be our date, but it could also be a number, and it converts it into a string, but it converts it in a specific way using a string formatting set of codes. And these codes are all listed below here, so I'm going to just quickly go down. There's ones for numeric formats, which I'll cover in another video, but the one I really want to cover here are the dates and times, and here we go. So there's two types of format. There's almost like a set piece, a kind of template format that you can use. And if you were to put in either general date or long date or short date, it formats it automatically according to a predefined template. So if we look here, for example, displays a date according to the current culture's long date format. For example, Wednesday, March 12, 2008 would be this date here for the long date. Or there's a medium date, and I think the mid date would probably just be, for example, it'd be Wed 3rd of March, or whatever. So you can use this, and it is useful if you just want to, if one of these fits your requirements, that's great. Just use that and just type it straight in, and we can go and test one just now. So let's say we wanted to use this long date. Let's go in and just use this format option here. So we put format and the value, and then we're going to put this long date, and then we will just click on this button here, and we can see between 01 March 2019. So that's a good start, and that might be enough. That might be just fine. However, I want to explain how we can be a little bit more precise with how we actually format this text. And what I want is something that's really specific. I want it to be I don't want this leading 0, and I want the ST, or the, if it's a first, or the ND if it's a second, and I also want a comma between March and the year. Okay, and to do that we go to the second part. So the second part is custom date and time formats. Now in here, what you can do is there's a whole load of these characters that you can use, and these characters determine how this date is going to be displayed. So for example, a D displays the day as a single number without any leading zeros, so that's something we'll definitely be interested in. We've got the day of the week. Now I definitely want the day of the week, and we can have it abbreviated, and that would be 3 Ds, or we can have the full day, which is 4 Ds. Then if we come down a bit, we've got the month, and we can get the month, full month name, which would be 4 M's, and then we've got the full date, which would be 3 Y's for the year. So these are the codes that we're going to use. So let's go back, and we will start to build it up using a string that is a little bit more tailored to our requirements. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and I'm going to break up each one of these. So I want, like I mentioned before, I want it to be the first of, or what I want is the date or the day of the week, so Monday, and then I want the first, and I want that little ST or E end, the two letters that go after the number, and I want the full month, and I want a comma, and then I want the actual year. So let's go and we'll start breaking this down. So first of all, we want the day of the week, which was DDDD. I'll just quickly go back to that and just confirm that's the case. Displays the full name, so Sunday to Saturday, so that's fine. And then I want the day, which is, if you remember, is just 1D, and that will take out the leading zeros. So if it's the first, it'll be 1. If it's the 21st, it'll be 21. And then I want the month, which is going to be MMMM. And then I want the year, which is going to be YYYY. So let's now go and look and see what this has done. So between Friday, 1 March 2019. Okay, and we'll come to the second date in a second. I just want to get the first one done because it's pretty much a copy and paste for the second one. So we've made a good start. Friday, and now I want the first ST. So I need to put a couple of letters after this one here. So how do we do that? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another variable, and I'm going to go and I'm going to get the min date day, and that is going to be equal to format. We're going to call it min date, and I just want D. Okay, so if I format min date D, then that is going to just give me a number that represents the day of the month, the day or the month element of this. Sorry, the day of the month element of this date here. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a switch statement, and I'm going to use this date or this day of the month, and I'm going to use it to determine which letters I'm going to use to put after the day of the month. So let's go and we'll use min date letters equals, and we're going to use a switch statement, and we're going to use switch with true. Now I'll leave a link to a video about how this works, but it's basically what happens is you use switch, and if you put true as the argument, it'll take whatever one of the next arguments we're going to put in is true first, whichever one becomes true first. If it looks at the first one and it's true, it takes that one. So we've got to be careful how we actually sequence these. Isn't so important just now, but yeah, that's how it works. It's a bit like an embedded if statement. So I'm going to use this write statement here, and the text I'm going to use is the min date day. Okay, now that date day is either going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, right up to 31, depending on how many days it is of the month. Now, if the write statement takes the rightmost character and then counting along by the number that you put into the argument there, which is 1. So for our requirements, if it's the first day, if the day ends in a 1, so if it's either 1 or if it's the 20, oh actually we need to put a little bit of a clause in here for the 11th, but if it's the 1, it'll be the first. If it's the 21st, if it's the 31st, it'll be a 1. So that'll be the number that gets extracted. So if that value there is equal to 1, then that is going to be ST. Okay, and we just need to do it for 2, 3 as well. So I'll pause this and I'll just put that in. Okay, so we have updated that. So what I've done, I've added a little bit in here while I paused the video there. So the first thing I realised was we need to account for the 11th, 12th and 13th. Now these end in a 1, 2 and a 3, but they don't adhere to this rules for the 1st, 2nd, 3rd and then the 20th, 21st, sorry, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, and the 31st. So we just need to account for those, and if the minimum day is in either in this array here, which is either going to be the 11, 12, or 13th, then we're going to prefix it with or postfix it with a th. If then we've got this right, so it only extracts the rightmost character from the min date, which is this one here. If that's a 1, then it's st. If it's a 2, it's nd. If it's a 3, it's rd. Otherwise, so this is the else statement at the bottom here, it's th. Okay, so let's see how that looks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and update this. So trend of open work orders between, and in here we're going to put the ddyyy. Okay, I'll just get rid of that just now. And that's going to be so that would be the day of the week. So say Saturday, and then the date of the week. So that's fine. And then what we're going to do is we're going to join it with, and we're going to put the min date letters. Okay, now that should give us, let's just test that, and then return result, and that should 14th. Okay, so now we've got that Thursday the 14th. Perfect. So next we're going to put in the next part, which is going to be the format, and date, and that'll be the month. So Thursday 14th of MM. So that is going to give us the full month name, and then it's YYYYY, and that's going to give us the full year. So let's see how that works. Forgot that comma there. Okay, so let's look here. So Tuesday the 14th of March, so we need an extra space in here, and we also need a comma in between the end of the month and the start of the year. So let's go back in here. We'll put a space in here. 14, yep. And then what we can do there is we've got this character, and if you use one of these slashes here, it basically breaks out of the formatting string, and whatever you put in there becomes just a string that is entered in, just a character that's entered into the fully formatted string. So you'll see what I mean when I just add that in. Now we can see we've got a comma here. So between Tuesday the 14th of March 2019. Perfect, that's exactly what we need. So that's just got the date in a sentence case for the minimum date. Now all it needs us to do now is copy that for the maximum date. So I'll pause the video and I'll go and do that. Okay, so here we have it. We have finished the code. Let me just open it up. So all I've done is copied the code that I have written for the min day and copied it for the max day, and then I've just added that into the end of this result here, so that it provides us with the day and the day of the week, the day, all the information that we had for the min date for the max date as well. And then here we have it in here. Trend of open work orders between Thursday the 14th of March 2019 and Friday the 31st of May 2019. So let's just practice, or just test a couple of these. So we put the 11th. You can see it's changed to 11th. And if we put it to maybe the 25th, we can see it's the 25th. Okay, so hopefully you find this useful in situations where you need to be a little bit more precise with how you format dates in some of the dynamic labels and sort of dynamic text strings that you might want to display in your reports. So thanks for listening. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to keep up to date with any of the videos I release, then feel free to subscribe. I'd appreciate that. And also, if you're interested in learning how to use Power BI, then check out my free course. There's a link below, and that'll get you up and running with Power BI in just around about an hour and a half. Okay, so thanks again for listening, and I'll talk to you in the next video.